Hello everyone, welcome to my video on my 2021 reading goals. I'm excited about this year, you guys. Let's jump in. I'm just gonna jump in and say my goal, my Goodreads goal for this year is 30 books in 2021. May not seem a lot to some people, especially my friend Abby. She's an overachiever over there and reads like 100 books a year. I'm not that cool, but my goal is 30 books. That will be like doubling what I read last year. I read 16 in 2020, but my goal, I want to read at least 2 books a year, so that puts me at 24. But I wanted to do a little extra and not like 25. So I'm like, let's just jump to 30. We're gonna do 30 books this year. I have it feeling I can do it. I can do this. I have just a couple notes that I wanted to just touch on in this goals video about how I'm liking to read lately, and I'm distracted. I'm sorry I play with my hair so much. I normally don't have it down, and so when I do, I feel like I play with it all the time, especially since I can see it in the viewfinder. Maybe I should turn that off. Touching on my notes. First bullet point is I normally read 1 fiction book at a time and 1 nonfiction book. That way I feel like reading 1 book at a time, I feel like kind of limits me, but I also know I am really bad at juggling a lot of books at a time. So the way that I keep it narrowed down is just 1 of each. Because one's fiction, one's nonfiction, I feel like they're normally always different enough that I don't confuse the two. That's just the way I like to keep it. The next thing I want to do this year is more digital reading. I love my bookshelves. I hope I didn't get my hair in my candle warmer. I love my bookshelves. However, I'm out of room. So I have all these shelves behind me, plus they go down to the floor and way up top. I'm pretty sure this bookshelf is over capacity because it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shelves that are completely full. Plus I filled the entire top of the bookcase with my Harry Potter collection because I have 3 different sets of the Harry Potter books. Because I'm a nerd. All that to say, I want to get into more digital reading. I bought myself a Kindle kind of on a whim the other day, so that will be coming soon, and I will have more digital books. I hope it will help me get through things faster, and then I can also keep like 1 physical, 1 digital, and then I always normally carry a book with me anyway. However, it'll just be easier if it's on my Kindle or the Kindle app on my phone, that it'll be a little bit more accessible. And I'm also hoping to do more digital reading versus like scrolling on social media. I want to use my time more wisely and use my time reading versus scrolling. So if I have an app right there on my phone, or if I have my Kindle right there while I'm at work, or while I'm sitting on the couch, I'm going to be more likely to do that than to probably pick up my physical book, maybe. So we're just going to give it a shot. The next thing is a small thing, but a big thing. Read 30 minutes a day. I wrote this. This is what I wrote. Small goals lead to big results. When I read 30 minutes a day, I always end up wanting to read more. A little bit more. I just have to train my body to do it and do it often and make it a habit. When I read 30 minutes every day and I do it continuously, I always find I end up reading more than 30 minutes a day. I hit that 30-minute mark and I'm like, oh, just till the end of the chapter. And then I'm like, oh, just 1 more chapter. And then the next day I'm like, oh, well, why 30 minutes? Why not read for an hour? And if I just continue that cycle, I get so much more excited about my reading. I am obviously reading more. I'm flying through books a lot faster when I'm reading every single day, at least 30 minutes a day, especially if I'm like, why not read for like 3 hours today? Just go for it, you know? So I always want to read more, but when I skip a day, or that skipping one day turns into skipping a week like it did over Christmas break, then I'm just like, I don't really want to pick up my book. Or it's easier to just turn on the TV show. Or it's easier to just scroll through Instagram. No, Kendra, we're gonna read 30 minutes every single day. And that little bit will end up, at the end of the year, it will turn into a lot of reading. The next thing I have is I want to branch out and I want to read anything that interests me. One thing I read last year was Milk and Honey, some poetry, and I haven't ever really delved into the world of poetry. However, I read that book and it made me want to read more. So I also read, speaking of which, I've finished 2 books already this year, and it is January 13th, so I'm working on this 30-book goal. Anyway, getting back to the poetry, I read another book of poetry this year, and it was an ebook. It was on my Kindle app, so bonus points, and it was finished by reading my 30 minutes a day. Anyway, reading anything that interests me. I'm kind of jumping all over the place, I'm sorry. But I read that Milk and Honey, it made me want to read poetry. So I picked up Cleo Wade's book, which I read on ebook. I also have on my Kindle wish list Cleo Wade's other book, Heart Talk. And I also bought 2 books of poetry at Target. I think I mentioned those in my Target haul. So if that's up, I'll link that below as well, because I mentioned some books that I got in that one. Last bullet point that I have is just read. Read more books. That is what all these goals are about. I feel like it doesn't really matter about the number. It's like Ariel Bissett says, I don't really care how much I read. That's why she sets her goal at 1, because she's like, I just want to read. I just want to read more books and encourage people to read more books, no matter if that's 1 book a year or if it's 100 books a year. You know, I like her thoughts on that. Because even if I only read 3 books this year, even though I've already read 2, even if I only read 3, something major happens, you know, I just want to read more books and encourage others to read more books, because it's good for us, it's good for our brains, good for the soul. Anyway, those are all of my 2021 reading goals. Please let me know in the comments down below, what are your 2021 reading goals? How many books do you want to read? Are you going to be an overachiever like Abby? Or are you going to be like me? Or even if a little less, have you not been reading for like the last 5 years? Maybe your goal is to read 2 books this year, or 1 book this year, or 10 books this year. I don't care what it is, just read a book. That's all I gotta say. Please subscribe to this channel, comment down below, give this video a like, whatever you feel called to do, and I will see y'all in the next video, and have a happy day. Bye everyone.